Gatlinburg sits at the edge of the Smokies, where candy kitchens perfume the air, neon lights glow against mountain ridges, and trams climb into the clouds. In 4 days here, you'll stroll a downtown buzzing with taffy shops and distilleries, hike to waterfalls and ridgelines inside America's most visited national park, and catch sunsets that stop traffic. This is your full guide: when to come, how to get around, and the experiences you can't miss. Best time to travel. Spring brings a burst of color. Over 1,500 species of flowering plants bloom across the Smokies, more than any other U.S. national park. Trails near Sugar Land's Visitor Center turn into carpets of trillium, violets, and dogwood. Summer is family season. The Pigeon River swells with rafting trips, and downtown hums with music. Street performers and long evenings strolling the parkway with ice cream in hand. Expect bigger crowds and higher hotel rates, but also a packed calendar of events. Fall is Gatlinburg at its best. Mid-October is peak foliage, when the mountains glow with red maples and golden hickories. From Clingmans Dome, the view stretches into a kaleidoscope of color. Craft fairs and harvest festivals fill the town, but so do visitors. Cabins and hotels sell out months ahead, so book at least 6 months early. Winter slows the pace. Christmas lights cover downtown, cabins glow with fireplaces, and Ober Mountain opens Tennessee's only ski slopes. Even if you don't ski, the tram ride up to the resort over a frosty valley is worth it. Lodging prices drop and the crowds thin, making it perfect for a quieter getaway. How to get there and around. Most visitors fly into McGee-Tyson Airport in Knoxville, about 45 minutes away, and rent a car. A car gives you freedom for day trips to Cades Cove or Pigeon Forge, but once you're downtown, you can mostly leave it parked. That's because Gatlinburg's trolley system is free. Dozens of colorful trolleys cover town, and you can hop on at Ripley's Aquarium Transit Center or the Park and Ride Welcome Center on Highway 321. It's a stress-free way to explore. If you drive in, city garages like the Aquarium Garage charge about $10 per day. On busy weekends and during fall foliage, park in the free park and ride lots and let the trolley do the work. One note for the national park. Since March 2023, you need a Park It Forward tag if your vehicle is parked longer than 15 minutes. The cost is $5 per day, $15 per week, or $40 per year, available online, at visitor centers, or kiosks near the entrances. Where to stay? Cabins are Gatlinburg's calling card. Perched on ridges, they come with hot tubs, decks overlooking valleys, and often game rooms or fireplaces. Perfect for families or couples who want a view with privacy. Downtown hotels put you right on the parkway, steps from the Space Needle, Ripley's Aquarium, and the Pancake Houses. You're paying for convenience, and it delivers. For budget travelers, campgrounds inside Great Smoky Mountains National Park let you sleep under the stars for a fraction of the cost. They fill up fast in summer and fall, so book early on recreation.gov. Fun fact, when the park was first established in the 1930s, many locals opened their homes to visitors. That tradition of hospitality grew into today's rental cabins that now come with Wi-Fi, streaming, and bubbling hot tubs. Day 1. Downtown Gatlinburg. Start your first morning with a stroll along the parkway, the mile-long main strip that gives Gatlinburg its pulse. You'll smell it before you see it. The sweetness of caramel apples, the sugar of fudge being stirred in copper kettles, the buttery aroma of fresh popcorn drifting from storefronts. Watch as old-fashioned taffy machines pull long ropes of candy in the window, a tradition here for nearly a century. Street musicians strum banjos and fiddles, and woodcarvers set up displays of black bear figurines that seem to wink at you as you pass. It's crowded, yes, but it's a kind of joyful chaos, the Smoky Mountains distilled into one lively street. One of the first big stops should be Old Smoky Moonshine's Holler. It's the most visited distillery in the entire country. The courtyard hums with free bluegrass concerts, and the air is sharp with the smell of corn mash. Tastings are just $5, and the lineup ranges from smooth apple pie to offbeat flavors like peanut butter and jelly. Even if you don't drink, it's worth walking through just to soak up the energy. Fun bit of trivia. Before moonshine went legal in Tennessee in 2009, distilling was an outlaw tradition in these mountains for over a century. Now, it's one of Gatlinburg's biggest draws. A short walk down the parkway brings you to Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies. Consistently rated one of the top aquariums in the U.S., it houses over 10,000 sea creatures, including 12-foot sharks that glide over your head in the Shark Lagoon tunnel. Kids crawl through glass tubes in the Penguin Playhouse, popping up in the middle of the colony like they've joined the waddle. Adults linger over the coral reef tanks, stingray touch pools, or take a ride on the glass-bottom boat that floats right above the Shark Lagoon. Tickets are just over $40 for adults and about $25 for kids. But buying online in advance saves time, especially on rainy days when the aquarium becomes the fallback plan for the whole town. Plan for at least 90 minutes here, 2 hours if you've got kids who won't want to leave the penguins. By midday, it's time for lunch, and Gatlinburg's food scene has its own icon, the Pancake Pantry. Opened since 1960, it was the first pancake house in Tennessee, and it hasn't slowed since. Locals swear by the sweet potato pancakes smothered in cinnamon cream syrup, while travelers come just to say they've eaten here. The line often wraps around the block, but it moves quickly, and the payoff is worth it. The pantry is tucked inside the Village, a cluster of shops designed like a Bavarian village with cobblestone alleys, flower boxes, and hidden courtyards. It's one of the most photogenic corners of downtown, so bring your camera. You'll want the shot. After lunch, take the elevator 400 feet up the Gatlinburg Space Needle. Built in 1970, it's been the town's tallest landmark for over 50 years. From the observation deck, you'll see Gatlinburg's valley cradled by peaks that fade into smoky blue ridges. On a clear day, Clingmans Dome, Tennessee's highest point, is visible nearly 30 miles away. Tickets are about $15 and include 2 trips in one day. So come back after dark to see the parkway lit up like a string of carnival lights. Next, board the Anakeesta gondola, a hybrid chairlift and gondola that whisks you above rooftops and trees to Firefly Village, an adventure park perched on the mountain ridge. Here you'll find the Treetop Skywalk, a series of hanging bridges strung between giant trees, swaying gently as you cross. Zip lines and a mountain coaster add adrenaline, while the Vista Gardens bloom with wildflowers and native plants. Families spread out on terraces with fire pits and rocking chairs, while musicians play live sets against the backdrop of rolling ridges. Stay until sunset. The mountain glows orange and pink, and the view of Gatlinburg's neon below is unforgettable. Arriving mid-afternoon is the sweet spot, enough time to try the attractions and still hold your place for the evening show in the sky. Wrap up your first day with the Ober Mountain aerial tramway, one of the largest of its kind in America. Since the 1970s, it's been carrying visitors 2 miles up the mountainside, climbing more than 1,400 feet. The tram cars are glass-walled, so the ride itself is the attraction. Watching the valley floor drop away beneath you as the town shrinks to toy-sized below. At the top, Ober Mountain offers different experiences depending on the season. In winter, it transforms into Tennessee's only ski resort, with slopes for skiing, snowboarding, and a tubing park. In summer, the Alpine Slide and Mountain Coaster let you race downhill with the wind in your face. Year-round, you'll find an indoor ice rink, wildlife encounters, and restaurants with sprawling views. Day 1 gives you Gatlinburg in a single sweep. Candy kitchens and moonshine, world-class aquariums and mountaintop views, a mix of rustic charm and modern thrills. Tomorrow, you'll step into the Smokies themselves and trade neon lights for trails, waterfalls, and wildlife. Day 2, into the Great Smoky Mountains. Day 2 is about trading neon for nature. Just a couple of miles from downtown sits the Sugarlands Visitor Center, the main gateway into Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Step inside and you'll find rangers ready with maps and trail tips, plus exhibits on the park's geology, wildlife, and early settler history. It's worth a quick look around. Kids love the black bear and wildcat displays, and you can grab the latest info on trail conditions. Outside the doors are short nature walks that make a gentle warm-up before hitting the bigger trails. From here, you've got options. If you want a quick win, hike to Laurel Falls. It's just 2.6 miles round trip on a paved path, one of the few stroller-friendly hikes in the Smokies. The payoff is an 80-foot waterfall that tumbles down mossy rock into 2 tiers. Go early. This is one of the most popular trails in the park, and by 10 a.m. the parking lot usually overflows. If you're craving something with more challenge, the Alum Cave Trail is a 4.6-mile round trip that climbs through a landscape shaped by water and time. You'll pass through arch rock, a natural stone tunnel, cross bubbling streams on log bridges, and eventually reach Alum Cave Bluff, a massive concave cliff that looks like a natural amphitheater. Minerals dripping from the stone create odd picket fence formations, and the view from the bluff opens onto endless ridges rolling toward the horizon. For many, this is the highlight hike of a Smoky Mountain trip. By late morning, it's time to let the car do the work. Drive the newfound Gap Road, a 30-mile stretch that winds from Gatlinburg all the way across the state line into North Carolina. Every curve reveals another postcard view, layers of ridges fading from green to smoky blue, the effect that gave these mountains their name. Pull over at Newfound Gap, where Franklin D. Roosevelt stood in 1940 to dedicate the park. The stone Rockefeller Memorial marks the spot, and at over 5,000 feet elevation, the air is cooler and crisper than in town. From Newfound Gap, take the spur road to Clingmans Dome, the highest peak in Tennessee at 6,643 feet. The half-mile walk to the observation tower is steep but paved, winding through spruce fir forest that smells like Christmas. At the top, a spiraling concrete ramp lifts you above the treetops to a 360-degree panorama that can stretch more than 100 miles on a clear day. You'll feel the temperature drop, often by 10 to 15 degrees compared to Gatlinburg. Bring a jacket, even in summer. Just remember, parking here requires the Park It Forward tag, so have it displayed before you hike. After lunch, head west to one of the park's crown jewels, Cades Cove. This broad, flat valley is encircled by mountains, an 11-mile loop road where time slows down. Wildlife is everywhere. Black bears forage in meadows, white-tailed deer graze near tree lines, and wild turkeys strut across the grass. It's also a living museum of Appalachian history, log cabins, rustic churches, and weathered barns preserved from the 1800s. Pullouts along the loop let you stop and wander through these buildings, imagining what life was like for the families who farmed here. Here's a pro tip. On Saturday mornings from May through September, the loop is closed to cars until 10 a.m., and only cyclists and walkers are allowed. Rent a bike in Townsend and ride the loop in peace. You'll hear birdsong, the crunch of gravel, and not much else. It's one of the most serene experiences in the Smokies. By evening, you'll be ready to slow down. Stop in town and pick up dinner to go. Bennett's Pit Bar-B-Q has been smoking ribs, pulled pork, and brisket since the 1990s. If fried chicken feels right after a long day outdoors, Mama's Chicken Kitchen does it crispy and golden, with mashed potatoes and biscuits on the side. Back at your cabin, light the fire pit, pull up some chairs, and roast marshmallows while the mountain air cools. On clear nights, the stars come alive, the Milky Way stretches overhead thanks to the park's designation as an international dark sky park. No city glow here, just silence broken by the crackle of the fire. After a day of waterfalls, ridgelines, and wildlife, it's the perfect Smoky Mountain nightcap. Day 3, family fun and unique experiences. Kick off the morning with a ride on the Gatlinburg Skylift. This chairlift has been carrying visitors up Crockett Mountain since 1954, making it one of the oldest attractions in town. The open-air chairs rise 500 vertical feet, and as you ascend, the town shrinks below, framed by ridgelines that seem to stretch forever. At the summit, step off onto the Sky Bridge, the longest pedestrian suspension bridge in North America. It's 680 feet across, with glass panels in the middle that let you look straight down into the valley. It sways slightly in the mountain breeze, just enough to remind you you're really suspended in the sky. Arrive early, before noon, when the line can stretch past an hour. Crossing the bridge with fewer people makes the experience even more dramatic. After conquering the heights, slow the pace with a drive around the Arts and Crafts Community Loop. This 8-mile circle is the largest independent artisan community in the country, with more than 100 studios and shops. Here you'll find potters spinning clay into mugs, woodcarvers chiseling black bear statues, painters capturing Smoky Mountain landscapes, and quilters stitching patterns that have been handed down for generations. The roots of this community go back to the 1930s, when the new national park brought visitors and locals turned their skills into a livelihood. Today, it's the best place in Gatlinburg to find something handmade and lasting: a carved walking stick, a woven basket, a piece of jewelry. These are the kinds of souvenirs that carry the Smokies home with you. By afternoon, it's time to taste Tennessee tradition. Gatlinburg is thick with legal moonshine distilleries, but two stand out. First is Ole Smoky Moonshine's Holler, already familiar from day one stroll, but worth revisiting for a proper tasting. It's the most visited distillery in the United States, a mix of live music, laughter, and the sweet burn of flavored shine. A $5 tasting covers a lineup that might include apple pie, lemon drop, or mountain java. Next, head to Sugarlands Distilling Company, just down the parkway. The vibe here is a little more intimate, with staff guiding you through creative infusions and cocktails. Their peanut butter and jelly moonshine is the talk of the town. Insider fact: Tennessee law caps distillery sales at 1 gallon per person per day, but many ship bottles home if your state allows. So don't worry if you fall in love with a flavor, you don't have to carry it all on the plane. By evening, drive the 15 minutes into Pigeon Forge for a dinner show. The classic choice is Dolly Parton's Stampede, half rodeo, half musical spectacle. Riders thunder past on horseback, performing precision stunts while you dig into a 4-course southern feast: rotisserie chicken, biscuits, creamy vegetable soup, and dessert. Another popular option is the Hatfield and McCoy dinner feud, where comedy, clogging, and even high dive stunts unfold as you eat. Both shows are polished productions, running nearly every night, and they're crowd pleasers for kids and adults alike. Day 3 is Gatlinburg at its most eclectic, walking across a swaying bridge high above the valley, shopping for handmade crafts, sampling a tradition born in mountain hollows, and ending with dinner theater where southern food meets spectacle. Tomorrow, the pace changes again. Outdoor adventure and one last Smoky Mountain sunset. Day 4, outdoor adventure and one last view. On your final morning in Gatlinburg, head 30 minutes east to the Pigeon River for a whitewater rafting trip. From May through September, scheduled dam releases guarantee reliable rapids. The Upper Pigeon River serves up Class 3 and 4 waves, fast enough to thrill but manageable for first-timers. For families with younger kids, the Lower Pigeon offers gentler Class 1 and 2 rapids in a float trip that still lets you take in the scenery. Guides double as storytellers, pointing out bald eagles, river otters, and relics of the logging era as you paddle. Trips run 2 to 3 hours, and most outfitters provide all the gear you need. After drying off, trade the water for rails at the Smoky Mountain Alpine Coaster. At over a mile long, it's the country's longest downhill track. You control your speed with handbrakes. Creep along and soak in the forest, or let gravity pull you through hairpin turns at up to 30 miles an hour. The ride runs year-round, day and night, with LED lights lining the track after sunset for a glowing descent through the trees. By afternoon, choose your finale. Head back up to Ober Mountain if you missed it earlier for summer tubing, alpine slides, or just the views from the top. Or wander the parkway one last time to pick up souvenirs. Classic choices include hand-pulled taffy, caramel apples dipped fresh, and jars of Smoky Mountain jams. The arts and crafts community is also worth another visit if you want pottery, quilts, or hand-carved bears, pieces that carry more memory than a fridge magnet. As evening comes, drive out along Newfound Gap Road to Morton Overlook, one of the park's best free sunset spots. Just minutes from Gatlinburg, the ridges layer into the distance like waves of color, deep green fading into smoky blue and purple as the sun sinks behind them. Arrive at least half an hour before sunset. The lot is small and fills quickly. Watching the Smokies fade into night is the perfect closing scene. 4 days in Gatlinburg gives you the full sweep. Lively streets and candy shops, mountaintop views, waterfalls and wildlife, moonshine tastings and sunsets that etch themselves into memory. This little town at the edge of the Smokies delivers big, mixing family fun, outdoor adventure, and southern flavor in a way few places can. Whether you came for the hikes, the rides, or just the chance to watch morning mist curl over the mountains, Gatlinburg leaves you with a sense of place that's hard to shake. Pack your bags, bring your appetite and your camera, and see why this gateway to the Smokies keeps calling visitors back.